Hi everyone, back again. So this is day 3 of the January 2024 Arsenal FC transfer roundup. So talking about all the transfer rumours that's potentially going on. Generally taking all the sources from online sources, generally like Twitter, as well as some general sort of Arsenal sort of fan websites, who also tend to collate a lot of this information. And one of the websites I do like to use, which runs up a lot of the information, is arsenalnews.net. They're pretty good at this. So we'll start off. So rumors regarding El Neni's departure has been hotting up. With again, I don't believe there's been any names of any clubs right now as it stands. Which club in Saudi he might potentially go to, but there is, as I mentioned, rumors more and more journalists are now talking the likelihood. I think Fabrizio again confirmed that El Neni might have suitors in Saudi Arabia, and obviously, being his Egyptian Muslim, that does fit his sort of culture, lifestyle as well. So I'm sure he would be very happy to have a big payday. So that seems to be hotting up. If Arsenal can get some sort of transfer fee, even if it's a 10-15 million region, that would be a good. Considering we only bought him for around 10, 15, whatever it was, so that would be a good return and also help with Arsenal FFP situation. Apparently, a lot of the journalists have also been quoting that Arsenal are kind of hampered by FFP as they need to sell before they can make any purchases. As you know, Arsenal have been one of the top clubs in Europe who have been spending large amounts of money on players. In the last 2 years, they have spent quite a large amount. This summer, with the signing of Kai Havertz for around 6 million rumored, um, as well as Timber, Yuri Timber, they bought for another 40 million. David Raya, while he is a loan fee, apparently there is an obligation to buy at 30 million at the end, apparently the total fee. But up front, they apparently paid around something like around 5 million fee. And obviously, the window breaking transfer of Declan Rice that Arsenal paid, so as you can see, is well close to the 200 plus million mark if you add up everything together, even if it's sort of performance related bonuses to those transfer fees. So that'll be interesting to see what happens, though, whoever's contract they're willing to cancel or even potentially loan out. Interesting to see. Um, then after that we move on to another player that's been more news is Aaron Ramsdale. So apparently David Ornstein's been saying that, not David Ornstein, I should apologize. I can't remember if it was David Ornstein or someone online I read. I just made a note. Ramsdale will not be sold. Apparently, Arsenal are quite adamant on that. However, should an astronomical bid be made, then Arsenal would consider it. So I'm guessing 50, I don't think would be enough. I think they probably rate Aaron Ramsdale close to the 60, 70 plus million mark. Considering his English, he's a very good goalkeeper. He still is, I would say, very elite when it comes to distribution for a goalkeeper. And as you can see, he's only 25. He's around the 6'2", 6'3" mark, which is, a good size for a goalkeeper. So he fits the bill in all departments, and especially for anyone in England, he would hit that English quota mark and help them ease in terms of buying foreign players and whatnot. So that would be interesting to see if any clubs, someone like Chelsea or Man City, I don't know, don't think Man City would. I mean, Chelsea are interesting considering they are potential rivals. Not although they are below Arsenal at the moment, they are potentially future rivals if they do get the project right. So I'm not sure if Arsenal would sell to them, but it'd be interesting to see what happens with that. As usual, there have been further links with Tony as well, Ivan Tony from Brentford, and as mentioned before, unfortunately, he's no longer in the game due to his gambling ban. So I can't show you the player himself on FC. Um, Again, just more rumors, general rumors, nothing. They're just kind of being repetitive about the striker. So transfer rumors, including Victor as well from Sporting Lisbon, which I did mention a couple of days ago. And again, nothing there hasn't been any significant development in terms of Arsenal's having to negotiations or anything. It's just more rumors that Arsenal potentially might look, or they need to sell before they can buy, and all that kind of talk, but nothing concrete, or nothing as of players have held talk, clubs are holding talks, nothing like that whatsoever. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes. There have been further rumors. Apparently, Arsenal are sending scouts to the AFCON to watch the Monday. I didn't realize he represents the AFCON team, but that'd be interesting to see what happens and how he plays. I'll probably watch some of the AFCON games and see how it goes. Other news, Marcus Leonard, which I mentioned, a Brazilian striker, 20 years old from Santos. Apparently, um, he's now signing terms. I can't remember. I think it was a Portuguese team. So apparently that team, whoever it is, apparently they've made contact with the club and had their bid accepted. So it seems like he's a striker we can now rule off that Arsenal will potentially go for. So he's now out of the market for at least another next couple of years. So also, we don't need to worry anymore, because I really didn't want Arsenal to get him. The other player there's been some talks is Ornstein did mention Arsenal might be looking to a loan option, and that makes sense if the FFP issue is true. There is restrictions. Then a loan option for a left back or a centre mid if they feel that's the position they need to strengthen, or that's more important. However, the other option is they're saying they might get Kieran Tierney back, considering how poor Shevchenko has been recently, and Tomiyasu being so injury prone. He's just not simply reliable right now to be a first team player, and relying on him obviously puts you in a lot of trouble. If he's not available, then you have to play Shevchenko and poor form, and there's no real competition. Um, I mean, Kieran Tierney is a very good traditional left back, and for me, he's probably one of my favourite left backs of modern era of Arsenal. Probably after Monreal, or maybe vice versa. Like they could either be one or two, because I think both of them are very consistent generally in what they do. Kieran Tierney does have his limitation. He's very much a traditional left back. He bombs down. He does the overlapping more than the underlapping. He doesn't invert as much, but I still thought he would be a good option just to keep on the bench as a traditional left back. I felt like him and Martinelli used to link up really well, especially that first season Martinelli was playing. He used to be really, really good. Unfortunately, he was loaned out. Unfortunately, as well, Tierney used to be quite injury prone and used to be out for long term, or long periods, I should say. So we'll see how that develops and what Arsenal do in terms of whether they loan a left back or do they loan a centre mid player and just core Kieran Tierney back. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. The other player, although we haven't been recently linked with him, which I do really like, is Zubimendi. He's been rated very highly. He seems to be kind of coming into his peak now. He is very diminutive in terms of he isn't the biggest player, not physically the strongest. However, apparently, I've seen some of his clips and obviously read some of the reports. He is a holding midfielder, so very much like a Kante. Nowhere near the sort of energy running around. However, he's much more of a maestro. He's definitely plays more like a Pirlo, so dictating play. He's not the aggressive Gattuso type either. So he's much more of a playmaker from the deep field. Apparently, he's very good at doing that role. So it'll be interesting to see if Arsenal do go for him, as he seems to be the partner, or if Partey does leave, do they bring him in? There have been some rumours, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. I do like the player. I'm just a bit hesitant purely because he's quite small, and considering the Premier League is quite a tough league, especially a physical league as well. It'll be interesting. Like, I wouldn't want Arsenal to get him if it means we can't get someone else, or in the summer we can't. So hopefully they do make the right choice, whatever that is, and it works out the best. There has been one link with a midfielder, and we have to go back to the Premier League, and that player is sort of come out of the blue, out of nowhere. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting this, but Arsenal apparently looking at Curtis Jones. So again, he does fit the profile. 22 years of age, English, young, and he can play on that left centre mid. He can play in midfield in general. Bit of a box-to-box all-round midfielder. I mean, I remember he scored pretty decent wonder goal a couple of seasons ago. He hasn't been able to establish himself as a first-team player. For example, what's his name? Thiago. If Thiago was fit, he would straight away walk in. But obviously, Thiago tends to be injured quite a lot, so that's one of the reasons. And Gravenberch, he only recently joined in the summer, but he was much more highly rated. So I'm expecting at some point he probably would overtake him as well. Be interesting to see if that ever does happen. But I've mixed feelings. I wouldn't mind him if he was a loan. If he was a purchase, I would expect it to be of sort of low transfer fee, no more than 25, 30 million. He's English, so I hope he's English. I think he is. I would expect that would work in our favor for the English quota that we have, but I would rather have a natural midfielder in that position. Just don't think Kai Havertz cuts it anymore. It's simply just not good enough. To me, I need someone in that position. What Xhaka was doing last year, really controlling the game, being dominant and being very clinical in front of goal when they do get the chances. And Kai Havertz doesn't give me that confidence one bit. But if Arsenal do go through with this, it'd be really interesting to see how he works out, how he plays. Does he play exactly the same way or same position Kai Havertz plays, or will he be playing in a different role? Be interesting to see. Just some more rumours, very similar, just the usual. Arsenal looking into Douglas Luiz again. However, I genuinely think this won't happen. Aston Villa are, very hard to negotiate with, and they really, really push anyone trying to buy their player in terms of they make sure they get the value, what they believe is right for them. So it's going to be really hard for Arsenal to get him on the cheap, and they might also need to, put in some astronomical bid to try and acquire him. So I highly doubt that would happen. But again, I mean, he's probably be him, Amadou Onana. Probably would be my top pick for our midfield sort of incoming if we can. Here is a silly rumor and a sensational one. So apparently, a journalist has now stated if Kylian Mbappe was to come to the Premier League, his preferred destination is Arsenal. So from what I've seen, some of his pictures in his younger days, apparently he does have some pictures of Thierry Henry, I believe. And he was some sort of Arsenal fan, which I can see considering his French. Obviously, Arsenal had a lot of French players: Thierry Henry, Sylvain Minto, Pierre Reyes, Patrick Vieira. So it would be interesting to see Emmanuel Petit as well. I completely forgot about that one. I mean, this is a dream. It's very unrealistic. I'm not sure. Like, he might want to come, but I don't even know if Arsenal can afford his transfer fee. Not transfer fee. Apparently, his contract's running out, so he should be able to move on a free. But I mean, if Arsenal could even afford his salary, I mean, the signing bonus alone, I'm not sure what Arsenal could offer. But I mean, if there was 1% chance Arsenal could do it, or had a chance, I would, I think every club in the world would say they should do their best to acquire him. I mean, he's the next thing. As soon as well, Messi, Ronaldo pretty much in retirement right now, but I think he's miles ahead of the rest of the chasing pack now in terms of all the other players that are now chasing that crown. I think he's miles ahead of them, and he would be a sensational signing if Arsenal could pull it off. He'd be, but I think it would be a miracle if they do manage to get this. But what a player he is. Anyway, thank you again. That's all there is from what I could see, all the good ones anyway. So please do let me know if there's any transfers I missed, and I'll try including into the next roundup. And let me know what you think. If there are any other players Arsenal should definitely be looking into or not, and how the transfer window's going so far in your opinion. Thank you again for watching.